I've tried to do this review like 4 times already. Let's hope that actually sticks this time. Uh, it broke during my analogy, so I'm gonna like speed run this less passionately. So apologies that you're not getting the best version here. But okay, I have very controversial Star Wars opinions. That's bullet point number 1. Bullet point number 2 is that sorry that I'm late to this party, but since my opinions are like the exact same as everyone else on this movie, I'm guessing that no one cares because I don't have much to add other than my opinions on every other Star Wars movie up to this point. I have not seen Mandalorian yet. I have not seen any of the Star Wars TV shows. I may have seen an episode or two of like Clone Wars. I've seen the Clone Wars movie. I didn't mind the Clone Wars movie. I saw it in the theater, actually. It's hilarious that the only Star Wars movies I've seen in the theater were Clone Wars 7 and 9. Wow, that's an interesting collection to pick. So as I was saying in the previous video, to start from the beginning of the Star Wars universe, I'm not a Star Wars guy. I don't like Star Wars like at all, which is very controversial, I know. But like it's just they're so boring and like generic and formulaic, and I just don't care cuz they're all so predictable. And I know exactly what's going to happen in every single one because they're so predictable and safe that you can't help but know what's gonna happen in every single one. So, watching the original trilogy, episodes 6, 4, between them all, you're just like falling asleep through all them because they're just so boring. And obviously, like, 5 is the best of all of them because it's like the subversive one, and I like subversive, but everybody knows all about it. Everyone knows all the twists. So it's not really twists anymore once you go watch it for the first time because everybody know it's pop culture. So when you go watch it, you can't even finish it because it's so boring. The same with 4 and 6. Just the whole trilogy. Just like, go away. You don't deserve my time. Bye-bye. Go. You're boring. And I'm not saying that you're boring because you're old, because I do like some old movies, even though a lot of old movies are boring. But like, oh my gosh, it's boring. Oh. Anyways, then the prequel trilogy happens, and it's watchable, but not for the right reason, like, at all. Because it's bad, but it's, like, hilarious bad. It's, like, so bad it's good bad. Like, it's hilarious. Oh my gosh, the writing is, like... I think whoever wrote those movies is actually, like, condemned for life, because the act of writing that screenplay is like a sin unto itself. It's so bad. it's, it's not good. So I can get through those with the haha funny stinky Jar Jar Binks, because it's like, wow, how did one of the biggest franchises become such a mess? It's fascinating. And, like, I can look back at this, and it has, like... It may even have more pop culture significance than the original trilogy, and more entertainment value than the original trilogy, just because it is such a mess. Like, and I know that's, like, kind of a bold statement, but, like, think about it. It kind of is. Because, like, we still make jokes, like, hello there, and then, like, The sand is just so sandy. And, like, I hate it. Because it's sand. Ugh. I don't like sand. It's so coarse. It's rough. It gets all over the place. Get it away from me. I have not seen episode 3 yet. I should watch episode 3, but that has the no. And then, yeah. I mean, everyone knows everything about those movies without even having to watch them, or at least I do. And then that catches us up to the new ones, the new trilogy. And I think it's, like, unironically my favorite one, like the best one yet. 7 is still more of the same boring schlock, though. It just feels like, because it is a rip of the original trilogy. And that's what JJ's doing. He's just this boring, he goes through, like, the safe old man logic, you know, just like, if anything changes, then it's, like, bad. Everything has to be exactly the same. We can't do anything different. Otherwise, we'll upset the Star Wars fanboys. So, we have to give them the exact same movie, the exact same story. Can't give anything new. And it's boring. I can't. I mean, the new characters are at least fun. And that's probably why I like 7 more than literally any other Star Wars movie before it. I mean, I did like Clone Wars, but that was probably because I had toddler brain, and my toddler brain was going, theater! But, like, you know, that was because I was young, and I was, like, 10 in the theater. Like, bruh. Yeah, I know I'm young. Just, like, sorry about it, but, like, uh, so yeah, 7 was 7. I feel like 7 is still overrated. Like, still vastly overrated. Like, I like J.J. Abrams a lot. And for him saying he was such a Star Wars guy, I got really pumped up about it. Because I was like, he did wonders for Star Trek. Like, his Star Trek movies are great. Super 8 is great. He's got a really good repertoire of films. But then he does Star Wars, and Disney, like, just plows him up the butt and is like, you have to do the most generic, boring Disney bullcrap, or we will be angry because we will not get all of our monies from the Star Wars fanboys. Can't do anything new. So he sets up this formula, right? He's like, okay, here's 7. And in 7, he says, basically, here's my trilogy. Here's what's going to happen in 7, 8, 9. And I'm feeling kind of bored now that I've finished 7. I'm going to come back around to finish this thing off because it's mine and I want it, and it's my toy and you can't have it. But you can have it, but only for a little while. But then otherwise it's mine. So I'm going to let some other nobody, like, direct the mill installment, but then I'm coming back to wrap it all up. So I'm doing the first third and the last third, but someone else can do whatever's left in the middle because I don't care. You can just do whatever. So I have my plan for the beginning, I have my plan for the end, and you can do whatever in the middle. It doesn't matter as long as it doesn't affect me. Spoiler alert, it does affect him, and it's so wonderful. I love it. Anyways, so I'm yawning in the back of the theater, being like, oh great, more formulas. Thank you, J.J. Abrams, for being so boring. Clap, everybody, clap, yay! And then, oh, no, wait, we're not there yet. Then we get the first Star Wars spin-off movie, apart from Clone Wars, because, like, the Clone Wars TV show came out. There's 2 Clone Wars TV shows. I've seen, like, miscellaneous episodes from, but other than that, like, I never really followed up on the Star Wars TV shows, the games. Not really much. I've just never been a Star Wars guy. The Force Unleashed games were fun though, even though I never really played them that much. And then there's Star Wars the spin-off. Gosh, what's it called? Rogue One. The one where Felicity Jones is like, enter my Felicity. my is that the right word? Felicity? Velocity? No. Velocity? No. Felicity? No. I'm like going insane. Anyways, the first 2/3 is like really boring. And then the third act is just like murder. And it's like great. And then you got Darth Vader doing the sick flips. And it's like, bruh. And yeah, that third act is pretty great, even though the first 2/3 are dull and boring, just like everything else. So, like, the third act is like, yeah, okay, I get it now. And that I get it now is now boring compared to what comes next, because let's say that J.J. Abrams, I've got an analogy for you. Let's say J.J. Abrams has been setting up a chessboard, all right? And in 7, he set up that chessboard where he's like, here's where 7 goes. Someone else will do 8, doesn't matter. Here's where 9 goes. I've got it all carefully set up. Rian Johnson walks into the room. This is the guy that did the super subversive and equally wonderful Knives Out movie. Everyone won't be mad at me if I say that movie is just great. So Rian Johnson walks in as JJ is setting up his little pieces on the chessboard. Like, yes, this goes here. I'm making it super obvious in 7 what I'm going to be doing. Super obvious, boring my audience. Here you go, Rian Johnson. I finished 7. I'm working on 9, but I'm going to be taking a little break because I'm so tired working on my master plan. Here you go, do whatever you want with it. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter, right? Right? Rian Johnson picks up his little chess piece. Mocks like he's gonna put it on the board. But instead he just flicks it away. He picks up the chessboard and then flips it against the wall. Crash! And there goes all J.J. Abrams' pieces. And that flip of the board lasts for 2.5 hours. And it is glorious. Oh my gosh, it's the best Star Wars movie that we'll ever get because it's so subversive. It goes right, it kind of spits in the face of the Star Wars fans. And me, not being a Star Wars fan, just soaks it all in and just revels in it. Like, yes, this goes directly against the grain of everything I know, and I love it. Oh, give me that anti-Star Wars energy. I love it. Let me soak it in. I love it. So, like, there's just all these subversive twists and, like, these great action sequences and just, like, interesting character moments and just like, it's just so unsafe. I love it. He's finally doing something different with the characters, creating interesting moments and like stuff that you actually care about and enjoy watching. And what's this? The pacing is actually good. What's this? You can actually sit through it without getting bored. This is not a Star Wars thing. He actually kills off well, I guess they kill off characters in all the other Star Wars movies. But in those, it's like super predictable. And then in this one, he's like, kill the past, kill it, do it, kill it. And then Leia goes, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. And then we're all like, you ruined it. You ruined it. And then he does something else amazing, like a backflip or something. And then we're like, oh, okay. Yeah. We're on board now. We're back on board. Yeah. And then episode 9 happens. And then we're all like, oh. It's damage control time. Actually, scooch your all's butts back up. In between those two, we get The Mandalorian, which everyone wanted way more than episode 9, to the point where it overshadowed the conclusion of the 9-episode saga, 40 years in the making, 50 years in the making, whatever. And Mandalorian was so great that everyone was like, let's just watch Mandalorian instead of the Star Wars movies from now on. I hadn't seen Mandalorian yet, but I've only heard great things. I know all the Baby Yodas, and it's kind of annoying now how much I've been hearing about it. As I'm sure you're all annoyed by me saying Baby Yoda. uh, and another thing I forgot to mention was Swolo, a Dar Wars Dory. Yeah, let's call it that. I thought it was pretty fun, actually. It's like the second best Star Wars movie. I really enjoyed that one. That one also had like some fun twists. And then we're at episode 9. And my thoughts are kind of the same for every other Star Wars movie. I found it extremely predictable. And then, so because I heard it was predictable when it first came out, I was like, you know what? I have an opportunity to see it, but I'm not gonna. Because if it's damage control for the best Star Wars movie, then I'm not gonna give it. Most people were boycotting it because they hated Last Jedi, but I was boycotting it because I loved Last Jedi, and I didn't want to give it the pleasure of undoing that. And I was like, if you're just undoing Last Jedi, then like, what's in the point? The one I liked? Because we're back to boring old man JJ, and he's like, let's do the boring save. Let's do Snoke 2.0. You killed my Snoke, so now I have to put Snoke back in somehow. Oh yeah, by the way, minor spoilers for that, I guess. I don't know if there'll be spoilers in this review. I guess you'll see. So sorry. I don't know if I'm going to be putting spoilers in the video or not. I guess we'll just see how it turns out, and I'll put in the title if there are spoilers, if I remember to. So, like, he's like, you killed my Snoke. I have to put Snoke back in somehow. I guess I shall. Palpatine. Because even though Palpatine's been dead for 50 years, why not just resurrect him? Because that makes sense. Snoke was supposed to be a Palpatine figure in the first place. Why not just bring him back from the dead? It's not like we can just bring anyone back from the dead then with that logic, and nothing has any meaning anymore. No death has any meaning anymore because we can just bring them back if we just bring Palpatine back. So there's no more law and order in the universe anymore. Yes, let's do that. So they do that. They find all these horrible, horrible ways to try to cover up, to complete JJ's plan. Even though Rian Johnson killed it, and it was so much fun. And that's what made that one so much fun, was watching him just destroy and tear apart his plan, even though it literally could not happen for the 9th one. That's like announcing the sequel to a movie and then just like killing that movie. It's like, it's great. Yeah. And yeah, what I thought of the movie was, it wasn't as good as Last Jedi, but it was better than Force Awakens. I have the same opinion on it as everyone else. I think I said at the beginning. I thought it was super predictable, and because I waited, because I knew how it was all gonna play out, I got pieces of it spoiled for me, and each of those pieces I predicted correctly, and I was like, I knew it. And then when I watched it, and I saw that the rest of my predictions were right, I was like, I knew it. And then when I saw the title, Rise of Skywalker, I was like, does that mean she's Skywalker? Because, like, spoiler alert, Luke is dead, so there's literally no more Skywalkers left, unless you count Leia. But we all know she's gonna bite it, because, like, she dead in real life. So how the heck is this Rise of Skywalker? If anything, this is Fall of Skywalker. So she has to be Skywalker somehow. So this is where my only screw up was. I should have seen the Palpatine lineage twist with her coming, but I didn't because I was too focused on Rise of Skywalker, so she must be Skywalker, so Luke must be her daddy-o, and she didn't know it, and that was the tragic little thing that will bring a tear across her eye when she thinks of Last Jedi, and it was like, if only I would have known, I would have hugged Papa on the island. But nope, Palpo, boy. And that was actually a pretty good twist, even though literally everyone but me saw it coming. And I was like, okay, good for you. You got one twist on me. One. And then the rest of them just super predictable. Everything Ben Solo-wise was the best parts of the movie, even though they're all some of the most predictable stuff in the movie. And all of it I got spoiled for me. Why would you put on the TV ads the final battle of the movie where you spoil like the twists at the end? Like, that's kind of unethical. But I saw it coming anyways, and I guess everyone just kind of knows, so it's just like, whatever. Yeah, just like stop fan baiting though. Like, stop doing fan service though. Like, stop hinging all your finales on fan service, because Endgame did that and its plot made no sense. So now we've had 2 movies last year that were extremely long franchises with a ton of movies, and they ended it with like one of the technically worst movies in the franchise, if not the worst technically movie of the franchise, because the plot makes no sense, and they're hoping to just cover it all up by saying, it's okay, we did all the stuff you wanted us to do, we did fan service. Doesn't that make it right? If it's bad, but we had fan service, then it equals good. Then we did a good job. And it makes me really mad. Because, like, Endgame and Rise of Skywalker, it's just like, can we just be good instead of being cheap? Because it really makes me angry. And, like, in some respects, Rise of Skywalker is better than Endgame because, like, there were less plot holes, but there were still plot holes. But Endgame was better than Rise of Skywalker in some regards because it was more of an entertaining movie. So, like, I mean, they're both just kind of ugly messes that I don't really particularly care for. So, I can't really recommend Rise of Skywalker, even though I liked it more than The Force Awakens. Because I didn't like it as much as Last Jedi. I can't really recommend any of the Star Wars movies apart from Last Jedi and Solo. And that's a controversial opinion of mine. It's just like, number 9 was just number 9. It's super predictable and just lazy and poorly written and just, J.J. Abrams is just not good at directing Star Wars. I mean, it's watchable and, like, fun, but it's, like, over long. And, like, I just want a Ben Solo movie. Just give Rian Johnson all of them. Just give Rian Johnson the whole franchise. I don't even care. Or just some fun director. Like, I don't even. Just give us a good Star Wars movie again. Give us Last Jedi too. That'll make the fans angry again, but I don't care about the fans. They cry about anything that's different when that's exactly what we need. We don't need the same retoiled garbage that's just boring. Maybe I just need to watch Mandalorian. I probably do need to watch Mandalorian. You know what? To offset how predictable that movie was, I feel like the only way to do that would be to end this review in the least predictable way possible. Want to guess what that would be?